Hello, good afternoon. Welcome again to Being Whole, Being Me Series 87. Yes, this is Malar again. Today, our format is a little bit different. Now, why? Because this is a pre recorded version. Now, what do I mean by pre recorded? It is the, 24th today, and we recorded it earlier with Hassan. Why? Because Fridays are prayer day for Hassan, and I thought we cannot afford to lose a chance to gain insight from his wisdom, which is why it's pre recorded. But having said that, you'll find out how passionate and committed Hassan is, which is why we're insisting on having him, in our show, because both of us will, as you watch this now, will, be communicating with you. So feel free to still ask questions while you're watching it. We'll do our best to respond to you. Now, without further ado, let's bring in Hassanuddin Sadi. Hello.
Hey, hi Mala, good day to you and good day to the viewers.
Yes, good day to you. Thank you for saying yes. You made me chase you for months, but I'm glad I succeeded. So, thank you for saying yes. For a different format, we have been missing a lot of our male Muslim friends because they can't make it to the 12 to 1 o'clock slot. Because it's prayer. And I'm thinking before we end the show, which is at 100 episode, we must bring you in. So thank you for being flexible and saying yes. And how are you?
I'm happy to be here. How am I? I'm feeling great. Yeah, thank you. And good job to your team for producing that video, splicing it from whatever sources, me and the internet.
Thank you, thank you. I will say that to Kirtana, and of course, Kirtana is at the back and listening. Kirtana does all the magic. And what hasn't I'm not sure whether you remember how we met or have we have
Yes.
met. We have met. I remember the meal at MCOT Mall.
Yeah,
But
but prior to that, we met when one of your earlier guests hosted a show and we were speakers. And that's how I knew Mala the first time. I saw on the screen, Mala.
and I said, was it Cheryl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were on the same show with Cheryl, and then we got connected. And I must thank Cheryl Vita for introducing Hassan to us and to me, because I think we don't interact very often, but when we do, I truly enjoy the deep conversations with you. And
Sparks fly.
yeah. You've this magic where you are calm, but you really make me think. So I've gained a lot of reflection, and I appreciate it because I don't have many people doing that for me. So thank you for the friendship, and I think that's what makes you the great coach you are. So we looked at your introduction, and we looked at the CEOs that you've coached. But tell us who are you, because it's like we couldn't get as much about you. You seem to be having an amazing life. So tell us a little bit about who you are to the audience.
Well, thank you. That's a very general question. Like I said, the team did a good job in splicing the video, which sort of focused on the professional side with glimpses of my personal side. But there it is, isn't it? Professional and personal are our categorization so that we can think. But in the
Yeah.
end, it's all a mishmash. Yeah. What am I is a mixture of all those that you saw in video and a bit more. But for the purpose of categorizing, let me begin on the professional side. You sort of read that I'm a coach, what kind of things I do. The other part that was not highlighted there is the second part of me professionally, of other than being a CEO and coaches of leaders and leadership teams, is actually the subject of today. You had it worded as peers on demand, and it's up on my background too. So that part I will tell more about it also. So there are two parts to my professional life. But how did it all begin then? After working more than 30 years in corporate, mostly in IBM,
Mm.
uh, my contract was running out for the employment, and I said, let me try to do something else. So that's when I went into the learning and development space.
Mm,
But why? If I look at it, in my career in IBM and other companies, my style had always been participative, consultative, guiding and leading versus the autocratic style. So it was a natural progression for me to go into learning and development because I attracted a lot of people for advice over the years of working. People come to me just for opinions. I had no idea what coaching was. I shared my experiences, listen, just be an ear for someone, and they must have gotten benefit from it. So it was a natural progression to enter learning and development, including my wife was saying, "Oh, your father, no, no, not your father, your grandfathers were both headmasters. You have uncles and sisters who are teachers. Somehow it's in your blood, Hassan. And when you want to have our kids tutored at home, my wife said, I can't do it. You're better at it. So I thought it was like in my blood to do learning and development. So I went into it. It's also a way of paying back, of paying forward all the goodness of having led a good life, good income. That what else do I do to share this knowledge and skills and experience? So I went into it. Uh, the other thing about it was my contemporaries, especially those who have a pension monthly, have different paths. Whereas I did not really want to retire and do nothing. Yeah, it was good for my dad when he was 58 or 55 that he retired and did nothing because he raised seven of us on his meager income. Yeah, and he deserved that break. But me, especially after my brother died, it's not just to do nothing, to get myself not bored. There's also this saying that if you retire and do nothing, your mind gets idle and then you get sick. So it wasn't only that. When my brother died, and he died at 63, lymphoma,
mm,
uh, about couple of weeks only in hospital. On the day that he was going to be transferred to another hospital for lymphoma, specialists being in the other hospital, the day before, he passed away at 63. So this was a few months after I left corporate world, and I said, "Hey, he's a good guy. This is too young. And what
mm,
else could he have done?" So I thought that uh, I need to live beyond 63 so that I can continue his good work as well as me myself doing good work. So that changed me. So overnight, from the few months of hey, let me dabble in something, let's not get bored. There was meaning found that there is more good to this world that my brother could have continued doing, but he didn't. So so that spurred me in a different way. So I went on to do coaching, trainings, consulting, and then the second part of my professional thing also happens, which is like peers on demand is a moniker for getting groups of people together that they help each other, learn with each other, and grow together.
mm,
So this was also a natural progression of me.
mm,
When I said that I was a magnet, that people came to me for advice and discussions and brainstorming, I found that my style had also been, if I need skill, I go to someone.
mm,
When I was in IBM, if there is a presentation to be given and I had no clue how to present it, all I had to do was look up the company intranet for material, uh, schedule a call. Well, this was back in the 90s, we didn't have StreamYard or Zoom. We would have a telephone conference with the slides that he had given us, and then I would pick his brain, and
mm,
then I was a expert speaker on the subject. So seeking help and advice is natural to me,
mm,
including in my personal life. There there I was having different circles of people, uh, different experts or people who know better than me in a certain subject that it's always in my phone list that on just a call away. If I needed advice on religious matters, there's this imam in the KL mosque. Uh, if I need a suggestion on something to do with business, there are two or three people who are my informal mentors. So I got a lot of benefit from being in the right crowd or knowing the right people to just consult with, and everybody is happy to help each other. I found so being like that, being me. The second professional thing I do is run groups, facilitate groups, because it's not only they benefit from me and my chairing and facilitating of how, for example, a 1 hour meetup can be very impactful, versus we talk and talk and talk all over the place. I have that skill too of facilitating people being able to extract value. But I also extract value from it because, I put up my issues to the group or to the person to if it's one to one, but especially in a group setting, I get the benefit of if it's a group of five, two gems come out from two people. Yeah.
Mm,
Some things that come up are totally useless, but it doesn't matter. In a compact session, they can't know all the context of what's going on. But if I get two gems out of a 10-minute brainstorming over a certain issue of mine, I get benefit too, as well, of course. They get benefit by going through that process. So, these two professional things that I'm doing are
mm,
actually a progression of what I really have been anyway. So it's easy. So it's something that I enjoy. Then it doesn't become a profession per se, because it's in me. I like it. Like they say, if you love your work, it's not work. So it's something like that. So that's the professional side, Mala. Oops, I talked too much. Anything?
No, no. I'm going to just stop you for a bit, because I think that you've given us a lot. Before we go, well, actually, even before we say we go into your personal life, I think I've got a couple of things that I'd love to understand about you, because I think you're giving us a lot of context with probably what some of us may struggle with, right? One is, what you call natural progression or transition into life professionally. Let's park that because we have a lot of time for that. But I wanted to understand a little bit about the impact your brother had, because, of course, these stories are very, very powerful, right? I can, I actually, I cannot imagine the loss, right? I was going to say I can imagine, but no, I cannot imagine the loss because I have one brother, only one brother or two of us. I cannot imagine, right? And so thank you for sharing that very intimate, personal, vulnerable pain of loss, right? But what was really also interesting is, I think, how you gain, I don't know, insights from a major loss in your life. But what I am curious about, tell us a little bit about your brother, what he did, and maybe why you felt you did say he's too good, gone too soon, right? And why do you feel that way, as to, like, what were you thinking? Because you did say you made an overnight shift, right? So yeah, tell us a little bit about your brother so that we also can gain insights about how you think. Is that possible?
Yeah. Basharuddin Saidin, when I was in secondary school, something like Form 2, would be my mentor. Especially in the adolescent stages, I would go to him. Yeah? And he would even open textbooks uh, to speak about taboo subjects, for example. Well, in the 60s and 70s, taboo is different from taboo now. But yeah, he was like my elder brother who would give me advice. And throughout the years till his passing, he'd always been the entertainer among the siblings. He would be the joker. So he keeps things light. Yeah, life isn't that serious, guys. So he's a joker in the family. And as for his vocation, he'd always been a government servant, even government servant, civil service. That's a life of giving. Yeah, So I always get inspired by him, yeah, doing his job in the most simple way, leading a simple life. So those simple characteristics of him was something that I felt as a loss to the family and to me. And if he had gone on to continue his life, yeah, the service he gives to the people he touched is something that was stopped. Although he had already retired by then, he was still in that mode. Yeah, the entertainer, the helper, the giver in him. So I needed at 58 that time to say that I need to live beyond 63. So I was singing the song when I'm 64, and I've passed 64. I'm going to be 66. I'm going to be 66. So for 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63 for about 5 years, I was singing that song because I wanted to get to beyond my brother's age. It kept me
Thank you.
going.
Thank you. So, I mean, I think what I'm getting from here is I think you've given us something really powerful, right? Because you are basically helping us understand the deep connection your brother formed, not just with you, probably with everybody around him, right? What he did for you may not have had a label called mentoring or coaching or help or counseling or support that we seek professionally these days, but we're very blessed when we have people like this in our life, and especially if they're in their family, because when you have a family member who can do that for you, you have a safe space to go to with your challenges, right? You need to feel safe, and I'm so happy and grateful that you had it in him, and I'm very sure it sounds like him, right? He did it, or it's just him, right? And he probably gave that gift of service to anybody who has the blessing to be around his space. And I know you said simple, but I think this is where sometimes we probably undermine the gifts around us, the gifts of listening, the gifts of service, the gifts of presence, right? And that's a huge difference. Now, thank you for sharing your brother with us, and I
You're
can
welcome.
see how the spillover has impacted you, right? Either through DNA, through your brother's life. But tell me, I love the way you were singing the song, right? But tell us or tell me, what changes, what major shifts did you make to be determined to go beyond your brother? What were the shifts in your lifestyle that you made?
The shifts is not in the lifestyle. It can manifest in the lifestyle, but the shift was
Okay.
within. So
Okay.
the shift within energized. So whatever I had learned 5 months after leaving corporate, I learned deeper and more intensely to practice. So whatever I practice, I would
Ah,
practice it more intensely because of the shift inside. So the shift outside is a result of the shift inside. So I got more intense, more energized.
mm. And how did so I'm trying to understand. You wanted to make sure that you were healthier to live longer.
Mm,
Is that correct? Right?
mm.
Right? Healthier to live longer. So, what sort of shifts you made that you thought will contribute to you living healthier, i.e., longer, if God permits?
Yep. To get to beyond 63 and onwards, there were a few things. One is medical checkups. It's as simple as that. Yeah. I go
Right.
to a Ministry of Health clinic every 3 months on the schedule for the superficial checkup, which if they find something, they ask me to go for deeper tests. But Alhamdulillah, praise be to God, all those years since my brother died with the medical checkups, I have been able to check, and I've just been lucky. I have no major diseases. If there was something coming on, I would either go to the Western doctors or traditional Chinese medicine that would fix me or heal me. And that has happened a couple of times. Like the GP say, Encik Hassan, you'll have to take this diabetic medicine for the rest of your life. But the traditional Chinese medicine physician thought otherwise. Yeah? She did wonders, and
Oh,
my father died of diabetes. I have two sisters on diabetes, and yeah, I'm still okay in my blood sugar level. But other than that, it's just maybe it's my stomach. I don't eat much anymore, so the nutrition and the control of the nutrition helps. The third one is, of course, exercise. I'm a cyclist, and I jump every place that I can go to. But this kind of doing and a bicycle event ride that I sign up for which then I would need to train for, keeps me going on the physical side. Uh, in 2014, my wife and I hired a personal trainer. We wanted to go to the Kinabalu to climb, and then the earthquake happened that year. So it's an excuse. It's been many years since 2014. Maybe I should put that back on my bucket list. So I have personal training by a trainer. Off and on, we call him back. But cycling is my way of declaring or getting to my fitness. I don't know whether your team read one of my earlier posts. I declared in social media that I cycle because I want to see my grandchildren graduate from university and
wow.
work. I declared that, not that I know, like my grandson is 7 years old. By the time he's 17, 10 years, 15 years from now, what is work? We don't know 17 years from now. But it's still in my aspiration that I need to keep alive, be fit so that I can see him graduate. Uh,
Nice.
what
Nice.
doesn't help is, of course, then there is another grandson, a granddaughter, a grandson. So the time gets extended, man.
Are you saying you how many grandsons do you have?
Three grandsons and one granddaughter.
Okay, I was waiting for the granddaughter to come in. Okay, lovely, lovely. So I was going to ask you, so what drives you to want to live longer? And
Answer.
you've already answered the question. So fantastic. So thank you very much for giving us a glimpse of your life in, how you draw insights and set your intention to live consciously. I know there's a whole part that we want to uncover in your personal life, but today I think I really want people to understand what is peers on demand, right? And I like, in the pre-session just before we started, you asked me, what's the difference between peers on demand and peers in demand? And I thought, whoa. So help us understand why peers on demand and not why peers not why not peers in demand. Help us understand that.
So there's a distinction between in demand. Mala is in demand. Everybody wants to see her. This product is in demand. It's getting 3,000 hits today and 3 million hits tomorrow, and people want to buy it. That's in demand. But
Mm-hmm.
on demand are things like, hey, way back in the 90s when I worked in IBM, they invented a phrase or a tagline called business or e-business on demand.
Mm.
But that was the 90s, so that was forward thinking then. E-commerce was just beginning. So on demand in the IT and internet space then, as now, means that you can buy stuff off the internet and now off the phone, because on demand is always there for you to take. So that's the distinction. In demand is you're popular, you're sought after. On demand is there for you. The streaming services of TV. I can watch one episode if I have time. If I don't have time, 3 months, I don't watch TV. Or if I have a vacation, I might binge on 7 episodes. Yeah, on demand.
Thank you.
That's the
Thank
difference.
you. So I want to say I want to be in demand and on demand too. I want both, right? If, it doesn't matter what's the truth, but I want to. I hope I'll create a perception where Muller is in demand. Doesn't matter, right? And then I want to say, wow, I'm available on demand too. So thank you
Yeah,
for yeah for helping us differentiate that. So tell me, what help us understand or introduce peers on demand first, so that audience who are listening will know what is available out there. So tell us, what is peers on demand? What motivated you to set it up?
The second part first. What motivated me? Like I like to continue what I said about my professional context of not only being sought after, but I seek other people's opinion in both my professional and personal sides. Another example of that is even with the family. If I need, especially in the last 8 years, to make a major decision, uh, I don't call it a family council, but invariably I'd sit down with a few members of the family, my spouse, who is Marcella, my wife, my daughter Hannah, her husband Rizal, and I value my wife's wisdom as well as the fresh ideas from my daughter and my son-in-law. So big decisions like I wanted to take up a franchise in a certain learning and development space, but
Mm.
we went through the books, the program, the business forecast and whatnot, and then my son, in front of the other family members, asked, "Papa, do you really want this? You know, you've been in IBM, you've been in sales. You know, you take a franchise, you suddenly got to play back the numbers game. The principal will hound you for numbers." After 2 3 hours of doing analysis, he asked me a simple question, and I said, no, I don't want to do this. So I withdrew from applying for the franchise and gave a walkover to the other applicant. Yeah. So major decisions or small decisions, even if only we talk to someone. So my son-in-law is way younger than me, and yet he had the right question to ask me. And, so yeah, I find that I value input from others, and so as I progressed sometime in 2017, I would start professionally what is called a mastermind group. No big deal. In 1957, Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, already introduced the idea. So it's as old as me, the idea. Yeah, born in 57, Napoleon Hill wrote that book in that same year. So lots and lots of models of groupings of people who come together has happened over the years. So Malaysia will have several groups out of from which I was one in one of them. So I was helping CEOs in a group setting. Other than coaching them, we do group meetups. To continue the natural progression, I said that what if I can create my own mastermind group, which I did in 2017. But coming to this year, what if I do it differently? There are those CEO groups run by big organizations, one of which I was part of for a couple of years. But what would I do differently? So I stumbled upon a friend, a coach friend by the name of Rocky Romero in the US, during this pandemic when we used to attend lots of online webinars. So when I met him, he had a model of creating events 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour of getting people together. And he found lots of value people generated for themselves in that. So it wasn't just a copy and paste for me, it just fit me. So modeling after him, I created once a week on Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. CEOs on demand, entrepreneurs on demand, innovators on demand, trusted advisors on demand,
Oh.
starting from October 2021 till now, and it's running and it's going to continue. Hey, people come.
Mm.
So anything from 3 persons to 6 persons will turn up, and I would do my magic of getting people to discuss and feel some useful things that comes out of it. I
Mm.
cannot guarantee everybody will be happy. Of the 200 plus unique people who have come in, some people find it useless and never come back. That's fine. It's not their cup of tea. But many, more than 50, 60 people, do come back more than once. So it must be working. So so that peers on demand concept now I have evolved this year to allow the on demand part to be more heightened. So if four is not enough, many of those I saw sign up, sign up, sign up. They can never come because life takes over. A meeting happens, an urgent business demand takes over.
Mm.
So Peers on Demand this year has more sessions. I've tripled the number of sessions so that on demand they can come and get value out of it. So I'm on the quest of getting membership, dedicated membership, who will then now have more intimate knowledge of each other because of the membership list and because of our meetups in the Zoom online platform versus the past 1 year plus people are fleeting participants who come in and out. So I have a membership, I have a community. So Peers on Demand is going to be a community. It has started January 30th, it has started on a soft basis. So as I go on into next month, March, April, May, I hope to proliferate the feeling of a community, getting value from each other.
Thank you, thank you. So, so you did say let's go back to when you first started, which you where you did it weekly, peers on demand for entrepreneurs, innovators and all. So you were targeting different groups, right? So let's just look at that first before we go into the membership for. I'm sure audience will be interested. But before we do that, help us understand. So, in the groups that you've run, because you've run this from what 2020, I didn't realize it was so long, right? 2021, right? It's more than a year, almost well, more than a year, right? And when people come in, so you invite them and they come into this conversation, facilitated conversation. What is it that they are seeking when they come?
People come in curious, not knowing what it is, because I'm being deliberately vague in my invitation.
Okay.
So they come in with curiosity, but to answer your question, most of them are looking for, there's this jargon called networking. So they thought that this could be another networking place that they can get to know someone for what? Something to sell or something to work together with the other person. So it's
Right.
either those are the two main reasons. People network such that they can sell more of their products and services. People network also to look for people in the similar area that they could help each other either in partnerships, subcontracting, alliances, joint ventures, and whatnot. So there could be other small reasons like who could be an investor and whatnot, but these are the two main reasons. So that sort of answers your question of what people are looking for.
So that's
But
why I initially get attracted, right?
that's why they get attracted. So I'm going to ask me your next question. But why do they come back? Because what
Yeah,
they
exactly. And so I mean, so I can understand. I'm on a date now. I'm checking you out, but I need to date you again,
yeah.
and you need to give me enough reasons. So, and I there must be something that out of the networking, and out of needing to sell more or wanting to sell more, right? If I come again, that I found something that maybe I wasn't looking, but I need it.
So they found inspiration and ideas. That's as simple as that. If it's speed dating, you know how stressful speed dating events are, especially when they're structured. 2 minutes, no, 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 and then it's a numbers game. But what they find in the 1 hour compact session is how I facilitate it is such that people, when they comment to someone else, I invite comments, they are commenting a spontaneous wisdom that for the recipient it is valuable. Like I said in my example of, if I go in a group and 5 people and 2 people give me good ideas, that's good enough. So if in a 1 hour setting 3 to 6 people turn up, while
Mm,
someone is commenting, the recipient gets a great new idea, something that
mm,
he could not have thought of. And this is street smart, spontaneous response
nice.
versus reading an article or market research study, and then you have to pour through the statistics. What does it mean to me? But the guy who comments is is giving spontaneous, street smart opinions.
Mm,
But the other thing that happens to the commentator is he too is actually, or she too is also actually giving a note to self. You know what I mean? When you say something to someone, in your head, it reminds you, oh shit, advising someone, but I'm not doing that enough. So let me go then and do some more of that. So what they come out with is not just the networking, looking for connections and for business as well, looking for partnerships in business. What they get is spontaneous ideas that could inspire them, out of which if they hear five, one is useful, then they can work on it. What they get out of it is a deeper knowledge of someone because okay, this is not physical in person, but even in a camera setting, seeing that person's intonation, facial expressions, the personality or the character of the person comes out. So what comes out of the session is they get deeper human connection. And you know that I'm all about human connections. Star Trek is the reason I like Star Trek is because of the human element in there. So I facilitate human connections too. So they come out of it with a return of more than just networking. That's where they come back, I think.
All right. Wow. I I really thought it's really interesting because I think while you say it's spontaneous wisdom, I think the major differentiator for me as to why I want to make it for your Wednesday session is the street smart spontaneous wisdom, because you are looking at you are drawing wisdom from people who have made it work for themselves, right? And in this space, right? And they're giving it out for free. So does this? So it sounds to me, the process that you shared me sounds like feed forward.
Yep.
Okay, lovely. So that means if I come into this session, I can come with a space where I want to maybe inquire and get more ideas of feed forward or a problem statement, and then I have my peers on demand giving me their wisdom, sharing their thoughts and wisdom. That's what happens, right? And this is
Mhm.
so valuable, isn't it? Because not many of us are sometimes it's blessed to have people like your brother in our close circle, and or even as friends, right? Especially if you are like for me, if I'm running a business or if I'm passionate, so I'm passionate about EQ, right? It's not easy for me to find other peers who are as passionate to give me inputs in spaces that I may not know. I may not know what I'm looking for, but I'm curious about certain things. So I get very excited when I meet anyone who's excited about emotional intelligence and their input. So what I see you doing is that come I may come to network, but I'm coming to explore, right? And what I have now is on demand a group of peers who are there for the same reasons. And then what we do is that we are building a community of support where we exchange ideas or we give our ideas based on our experience, could be real practical experience of someone, something that you know. And what I then go back with is new ideas and inspiration for me to try. And I think what seems to me, I don't know what you, I think you said we are building a community. I think you already have a community. You're probably only extending the community so that it reaches out to more people. More people have access to the community for the wisdom that they're offering is what I'm getting.
Yes. But before I answer that question about the shape and the form of the community that I'm building, let me comment on a couple of things you said. One was you said feed forward, and you describe I go in, other peers will be able to give ideas. Actually, the feed forward part is you are on the other side. You are the peer who is giving your spontaneous wisdom. So
Okay.
feed forward is when you who gets not only the chance to, "Oh, I must respond this way because this guy doesn't see what I've seen." So, and then you blurt it out, and because it's compact, you say it in a headline fashion instead of talking for three paragraphs. You say it in three sentences, and the person gets it, and you feel happy about it, and you get a wondrous feeling. Not bad. That guy had a spark in his eye when I said that. So that there is that joy and fulfillment of that feed forwarding also that makes people come back. So what I'm looking for are also people like that. People who are just takers, takers, takers. They won't come back, and I don't really want them also. And then somehow the community behavior will correct the situation. Yeah, I think so. But that's that feed forward part. The other part is sometimes it's not just you saying something. Your presence, the person's presence, can also be inspiring. One of my members is an entrepreneurial 17-year-old student, and
Mm,
he's even paying for the membership now in this new community. Of course, I give him a student rate, but his mere presence, his confidence. I can't say I hate school, but but it's 4 p.m. That's when the action begins. Then I begin to get onto my business. He speaks like a 37 years old. So puts a guy who is not sure what he's doing in his entrepreneurship to a certain kind of level. Whoa, this 17-year-old can speak like that, and he's using his simple examples. Not that simple either. He's doing digital marketing aspects. So those things run in the mind of the 47-year-old that say, "Hey, so that's one example. And then you get a guy who is 73 years old speaking in his most calm, demure way and being sensible. So his presence creates different kinds of inspiration to someone else. So it's not only in what they say, it's in their being. That's the formula for this feeling of value and what they can do post session.
mm, mm. And so tell us, right? I think based on your repeat participants who've been coming back. So I liked the idea of givers and takers and how the system takes care of itself. Because I think somehow or rather, uh, if you're only there for the taking, you may not have a reason to come back. Because right, and I felt that's really interesting because how your system is probably encouraging givers, and we know people who know the idea of givers and takers. We know what it means in our life, and but I really like also the fact that how you said sometimes how much we are learning and gaining insights from someone's presence.
Yeah.
And it's a great gift of diversity and inclusion for us to just watch someone how they are and gain insight as what you want to be and what you may not want to be, right? So when you look at certain behaviors, you realize that hey, that's a part of excellence that I want to model, so I want to be that person, right?
Oh,
And
that's the part that I don't want to model
yeah,
because we
exactly.
observe.
Exactly, right? Sometimes you need to see to make that conscious choice that, hey, I want or I don't want to be. And I love the example of the 17-year-old and the 73 because they bring about different presence and we need both. And I think this is really diversity and inclusion in action, right? Giving everyone the same space, the same amount of presence and respect, I would say that when they voice out, it's whatever you take whatever you're capable of taking, right? And you give whatever you are capable of giving. Fantastic. um, what I'm very very curious about, what are some major shifts that has happened for the people who have come in regularly? What are some stories? Can you share some stories as to what people have got out of it, especially those who are coming over and over again?
Let's stick back to that example of that 17-year-old. When he was 16 years old, he got on this platform and then he began to know more people. And along the way, a startup, because of what he found on this platform, a startup hired him as an intern.
Wow.
So for him, the impact was, okay, I'm an intern. I don't get paid, but I get to practice more of all this interest I have in digital marketing, Facebook marketing. So he's doing tasks and campaigns for the startup. So the startup founder, who are also young, they are in their mid 20s, must have found some inspirational and spirited approach that the 17-year-old have. So that's a marriage or an alliance that is only there for the good for the future. I don't know what's going to be the final outcome later. For the startup, it could mean that they have extra hands and get fresh ideas on how to do digital marketing. So that's one example of an outcome. Back in the early days, when they met, there was a party who was presenting and telling how they create certification programs and train people for certification programs. Another attendee then later off session hooked up, and then she became a trainer or a consultant within that company as a part-time arrangement. Yeah, so I can't have this is probably my weakness. I don't do enough research to find out what has been the post session outcomes. The weakness that I have is I only say in my thank you note, if you do discussions and progress to other alliances and partnerships, please update me. Not many people would update me. So one of my learning points is to do some sort of feedback survey or find out what is the impact. But there could be many other kinds of impact. We haven't even talked about what a new idea or a spontaneous receiving of a solution would do to that person post session. So I don't know all the impact there. So I have a resolve that I will create a method of gathering impact outcomes.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure if, well, it is impactful, which is why you've extended the services available, right? So if I'm coming once a week, every Wednesday for the session, which is actually, available for everybody and it's complimentary, there must be a need for you to have created more sessions for peers on demand, which is the membership that you're seeking, right? So why would I seek membership?
Well, like I said, there have been people who have registered for the Wednesday sessions
And
many times, and either they attend once or they have not been able to attend at all. And the
mm,
common answer is, there's a schedule conflict. There's a schedule conflict. With tripling the number of meetings on top of those 4 sessions, the on demand becomes more like the streaming services. So I'm not exactly 24/7. I don't have an AI to run the show for me. So if uh, 4 sessions now become 12 to, uh, sorry, 4 plus 10 is 14 to 16 sessions in a month.
mm.
So there is those people who sign up and had a schedule conflict, better chance of turning on the remote and choosing the episode because the episode is there. So that's the on demand, just in time, at my convenience approach that is amplified from the previous version, which still continues the 4 month.
But obviously, for me to set that as a priority, to for me to seek membership, for me to set that as a priority as to like I'm going to put aside this membership because I know that there is a gift available for me, right? A value that is available for me. So obviously there's a value, right? So what is that value that people are seeking beyond time,
Beyond
right?
what?
Beyond the time, beyond it meeting my time, right? So this means now I have more options to choose from, which means that because I want something from the sessions, right? So beyond it meeting my time, underlying meeting my time, there must be some things that we are seeking. So is there anything else that we've missed out that people
Yeah,
are saying,
yeah,
hey, I can go for the free one, now I'm going to get membership because I
yeah.
want to make sure I have access? So what is it that we are seeking?
See, what I've talked about them extracting value and be fulfilled in giving
Mm,
is already given, especially if
right.
they've discovered it. But beyond that, yeah, That's why now the emphasis is on the word community. What is a community? A community is, I mean, you know them. If
Mm,
I live in this area, I know them by name. I
mm,
know where he lives. I know what he does to a certain level. I get into activities of not only knowing him or her further, I get into activities of doing things together. So the community feeling, belonging, and intimacy and trust being built up within a defined community is something that will fulfill some people, not all people. So this differentiates the fleeting participation in the monthly free events. So the sense
nice.
of community, that a community is there to help each other, a community is to look for common goals, and the common goals that I declare and we hope that will be refined is simply just share, learn, and grow together. Share, learn, grow. Share, learn, grow together. So in that family portrait photo that your team spliced the video for us, I had a T-shirt called "Come Together Right Now Over Me." That's a Beatles song, another Beatles song. So it is a coming together of a community that differentiates it from Mala or Hassan, yeah. Oh, there's a good networking event. Let me go. And then 5 months later, there's another good networking event. Oh, I go back to the first networking event. But the people are fleeting. So the sense of knowing each other in a community, I think will elevate the experience of the human side of us, the helping side of us, as well as the receiving side of us.
Nice, nice. Thank you very much. So we have got like less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to, before we wrap up, tell us what's your vision for Pearson.
Oh, nice. Because it's coming back to community. Uh, I have been benefiting as well as giving benefits in groups, small groups, yeah? Family council, daughter, son, wife, uh, mastermind groups that I run. My mastermind groups, I have four now because of this nature of me learning, growing, and sharing together. I have four now. One has three members, including me. One has five members, including me. One has five members, including me. And the fourth one has three members, including me, which has members in Kingston, Jamaica, and Montana, US. So beyond small groups, the vision is to have a larger community that, again, like I said, water will find its own level, that gets into an equilibrium of share, learn, and grow together. That's a new challenge for me, a bigger group. And the challenge is also lovely because in this day and age of online, I have enveloped it to be an online community. So an online community doesn't have physical meetups, doesn't have physical activities, at least for this version of a community that I am building. It is an online community. It has, other than the online meetups, an adjacent app or website that allows people to interact, share, post, chat with each other, list their services for the taking, offer help. So there is an online, not Facebook group, not LinkedIn group, but another nifty platform, software platform that I use to augment the physical meetups. So the challenge and the vision is to form a large community, an online community, which will work, I'm sure, especially because of our behavior, pandemic and post-pandemic, of finding the best way of extracting value online. So this is an exciting two-part challenge: creating a larger community and keep it online and yet still achievable. How large is large, you may ask? Well, I don't know really. So if 2 weeks after starting it, yeah, late January, now I have five members. By the end of the month, if I have seven members, 10 members, by the end of the year, if I have 70 members, what is the right number? We'll see, because as water finds its level, then I will discover too what do I mean by a large community beyond the five people groups. Or when I was in that group in that company, when I was attached to the company where I was facilitating seven other CEOs, that's seven plus me, that's eight. So the biggest I've done is eight. So what is that large number? We'll see as I discover, as I implement, as I hear from the members what they want. Yeah, it will surface.
So, what I'm hearing again is what we started off with, because what you seem to be doing is that you seem to be listening in within to what's your desire, what's your gift for the world, right? In terms of your vocation, in terms of your expression, and in terms of really building human connection on one hand, and you give it your best shot based on the feedback you're getting, the progression people are making, and you make your natural progression based on all of this, because that seems to be you say natural progression, I think, two or three times, but again what you're saying is like, what is my vision now? Because I know people had this problem, they wanted to come, they appreciated it, so I created more sessions for them. What's going to happen after this, I don't know. Let's see what is a natural progression with this. And I like this because we are allowing nature to probably tell us what we all need, what the community needs. And I think as a person, an elder person in the community who's walked, the walk of life, what you're saying is that all of us have different forms of wisdom to, having walked in life. Let's see what is required, and if I have something, a part of me that I can give away in this community, I will give. When there's no need, maybe we'll find a different community to give, or maybe
Yep.
it's time for us to receive, right? So let's do the natural progression and make the world a better place to share, learn, and grow together, is what I'm hearing.
Thank you. We are on the same wavelength. You summarized it very succinctly and accurately. I want to now become a community builder. I've had my share of success and failure in community building. So the wondrous thing about a community is the host is not the guru, expert, leader per se. The host is just a host. The host enables or makes possible the culture of giving and taking and receiving from one another. So the host has an easy job of people sharing, learning, and growing together, because it doesn't come from the host. It comes from members.
Well, even though you say it's easy, I'm going to say that I think to have the wisdom and the vision and not having a need to control,
Huh?
not to control the outcome, is a major gift not many of us have in this modern society, because I think a lot of us want to make things happen. But what's again clear for me is that, you may say, playing host is it's not that difficult. No, I do think not everybody can play host to keep it, just to say, okay, this is the culture we're going to, but let the members, design it. I think that's major. It's letting go and let it have a natural progression again, right? You're allowing natural progression to happen. So Hassan, thank you very, very much for your time, for setting up Peers on Demand for us. We're putting the link. I'll also put the registration link in the comments. So if you have any questions, put it up here in the comments. We would be answering it. Now, before we say goodbye to Hassan, is there anything else you want to tell the audience before we say goodbye?
I'm committed to be a better community host. Yeah. A few sentences ago, I said I've had a fair share of doing or trying to lead communities. There I was. This example of leading community was I was a chairman of a residents association, and I actually thought I was a leader, and I thought at that time I did a good job. We completed surau project. Surau is a mini version of a mosque, an abandoned surau, which because the developer went bankrupt, it could not be completed. And here we were 1 month before the fasting month to be able to complete it for fasting prayers. I became the chairman. We got people together. We collected money, and 2 days before the fasting month, we could do the afternoon prayers. Whoa, major achievement, I thought. Yeah, and then after Ramadan, the fasting month is the Eid, the Ideal Fitri. 1 week after, there was a gathering. 2 weeks later, people were bombarding me with allegations. What did Hassan use the money for? That was the lowest point of my life in being a community leader. That I said, how can they? How dare they? I did a good job in completing in record time, and they allege that I've been using the money that we collected. So, what we did to overcome it, that son-in-law accountant of mine created an Excel spreadsheet, created an auditable report. When I presented it again, I was above board. But in that meeting, they were giving me feedback. For example, of course, they could not really understand all the figures, and yet they accept that I didn't play foul with the money. But some of the feedback I got was, you were treating us like school kids. Yeah. So their disgruntlement with me included that my arrogance of I'm the hotshot corporate guy here to complete a project in project management terms, and I did it. It was achieved. But the feeling they got was I'm like an autocratic treat a child. For example, when I took out a flip chart in a meeting, which was alien to them, they thought I was trying to be a headmaster. And then, so I found that I was not a true leader in the sense of a builder. I was trying to be the hotshot corporate, and they sensed it. So being a community host and builder is not like that. Then the biggest lesson I learned from that community building was, I had to spend with my son-in-law, my daughter, my wife, taking all the receipts, creating an auditable report, and winning the debate of I did not misuse the money. But what I did not do was I was not transparent throughout the 1 month project. What if I had posted the collections, the expenses, and whatnot? So transparency versus the arrogance of me saying I know what to do. I'm an honest guy. Don't question me. So in community building, it is not being the champion, the guru, the wisest. In community building, it is not being I know the best methods. You don't have to know everything. Let me run the show. So these two lessons in that resident association has taught me that even in this online community building, there is this hosting, there is this taking in concepts and ideas from people on how the culture of the community can be better. There is transparency. If a student rate is 38 ringgit instead of 88 ringgit, I tell it. If there is other things that has to do with finance, I'll be totally open, learning the lesson from that 2016 experience of stress and duress that I went through. So
Nice.
I'm a community builder 2.0 now.
Nice, nice. Sounds like the book I was reading by Jim Collins, Entrepreneur 2.0, right? So it's like we learn, we grow, and we become a better versions of ourselves. So Hassan, thank you very much for the story of transparency, and I'm sure we will connect again to do something else together because we still have a lot of wisdom to draw from you. So with that, as we
Okay.
say goodbye to Hassan, and yes, I get back the screen to myself. For those who are listening, thank you very much. We'll put it in comments. Feel free to check out Peers on Demand and join Hassan and the team to receive whatever that's waiting for you, whatever the universe wants to give you. And with that, this is Malar signing off from Being Whole, Being Me Series 87. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify so that you can have access to all the past wisdom on demand, like what Hassan says. With that, stay safe till I meet you next week with a brand new topic and another amazing speaker. Bye.